Hello, what's up guys, it's Will back once again for another fight card prediction. We're going to be breaking down UFC Singapore, uh, Demian Maia against Ben Askren is going to be our main event for this one here. Um, Getting out a little bit earlier than outside the usual Monday because obviously we had the Friday card, so I had a little bit more time to look into it on Saturday and then on to Sunday. So yeah, looking forward to kind of getting an early card in the UK here. And so, yeah, looking forward to talking through this one fairly quickly for you guys. Um, for the people that are in the poster competition, I'll get them posted out in the community page. You'll see how you did. We move on to next week. Top three that get through over the two events. Move on to UFC 244. Winner of the poster goes from there. Before we get into it, I just want to say if you like the content, if you like the channel, if you're new to the channel, subscribe to the channel. If not, if you could please give a thumbs up, it really does help me. What I want to know this week, I want to know what is your favourite underdog for the card and your favourite play overall for the card. That's what I want to know. I think it's a little bit of a tough card to pick in some aspects, and yeah, I think it's just a tough card. But I want to know your guys' picks. Favourite underdog, favourite pick across the whole entire fight card. So yeah, let's get into it. Starting off, heavyweight division, we've got Rafael Pessoa against Jeff Hughes. I think Pessoa is he's super aggressive, but I think he's very vulnerable to getting hit. I think that Jeff Hughes is more durable. I think he potentially could hit a little bit hard. I think he can mix up with takedowns. I think Pessoa, once it goes to the ground, he might be alright with his jiu-jitsu, but I think he's so wild and so open that he's there to get hit, and he's there to get kind of grabbed upon and put against the cage and can get taken down. I just think that Jeff Hughes is going to work him over a 15-minute period, if not hit him with some counter strikes and win the fight. I would be honest, I would be surprised if Pessoa came out, but heavyweights, who knows what really kind of happens in those fights. I'm never super confident in kind of heavyweight picks, if I'm being honest with you. But I'm going to go Jeff Hughes to kind of win over a 15-minute period. I think if he doesn't get him out in the first two, I think he wins over a pretty high. I think over the 15 minutes, I think he wins the decision, is what I'm trying to say. Sorry, it's 1:30 in the morning, and I was contemplating whether I do this and get this out early, so I might be a little bit, but stick with me. Loma Lookboonmee against Aleksandra Albu's up next. I mean, initially I was like super close to betting Loma when she was plus 110. Now I would never bet her now. I think she's minus 110. That was my initial kind of gut feeling, was the fact that I did like Loma, but then she's so inexperienced kind of in the MMA kind of realms. You've seen her in Invicta, and you've seen her in a one fight that she lost. She kind of get into scrambles on the ground where that's just not her realm. Her realm is her striking. It's in the clinch. She is super dangerous. She's quite strong, I think, for a little girl. You see her in some of her fights, she'll throw girls off her, but once she gets in the clinch, she's deadly. Knees up the middle, obviously. And her striking is really good. I think her grappling has a lot to kind of be desired a little bit, but it's not bad. I don't think it's overly bad. Albu, like I said, I started off liking Loma, and then I kind of moved over to Aleksandra. I thought, right, she might have a strength advantage. She's obviously got the advantage of being in the UFC. Not that that really means much, because she's never really used it to her full capability. But yeah, she's very strong, obviously. I think she could muscle in some takedowns. I can see Loma getting back to her feet. Submission grappling is maybe something she's worked on to maybe win this fight. But ultimately, I don't like her gas tank. I think she fades. I think with the physique that she's got, she fades off a little bit easy. I think Loma can get in the clinch, and when she gets in the clinch and she starts to tire, I think she's going to start unloading with knees. She's one of those fighters as well that if you put her against the cage and you try and get takedowns, she'll grab onto the fence and try her damnedest to not go down. But yeah, initially was on Loma, moved over to Aleksandra, and now I've kind of went back to Loma. I wish I kind of bet her at plus 110, but I think it's a good miss just not betting this fight at all, in my opinion. I could maybe see Albu maybe powering a little bit early, but I think the cumulative strikes over 15 minutes is going to win Loma this fight. I think she could probably stop it late on in the third round as well, so I'm going to go Loma Lookboonmee to win that one there. Sergei Pavlovich against Maurice Greene's up next. I'll say this about Maurice Greene. He seems to kind of turn himself around after the clown that he was on the show the Ultimate Fighter, where he was drinking and he was smoking, and I see he's still doing that. Um, but he physically looks in the best shape of his life. He's in a really good spot. 3 UFC wins. Looked really good against Albini. Some nice feints. Dropped him a couple of times, but Albini's not. He was never a UFC caliber fighter in my opinion. He was just, he lacked a lot. And when you look at someone like Maurice Greene, who's been around kind of combat sports, he fought in kickboxing and so on. He's got a lot of experience, and he's still fairly young in his kind of career in MMA, 5 6 years or whatever it may be. But a lot more fights than what Junior Albini's got, and just a far better fight on the ground. And his tendencies were, Junior Albini's tendencies were really, really bad to in the UFC, and that got exploited, and that's why he's not in the UFC anymore. I don't believe so. The Jeff Hughes one, that was a little bit sloppy, but he came through. Won at home. I think it was at Junior Albini. It was at home, but beat Jeff Hughes, and that was a weird fight because it was a rematch. Didn't really need to take it. Or Jeff Hughes didn't really need to take it, took it, lost it. So, like I say, and he looks in, if you go and look at his social media, he looks in great shape. Pavlovich is a guy, I actually really like Pavlovich. I think outside, I think he's the kind of guy that will beat a lot of the kind of middle and heavyweight fighters, but once he faces someone with, that's, it's hard to say elite because there's not many elite heavyweights around. Ranked maybe heavyweight, I think he might start to not look so great. I mean, he was given Alistair Overeem in his debut. That was just bad matchmaking from the get-go. I know they were in Russia. Oh, they weren't in Russia, sorry. My head's all over the place tonight. It was in China. And that was just a bad matchmaking. The next one up, Marcelo Gome, completely ran through him. I like Pavlovich in this spot. I think there's going to be a lot of people on Maurice Greene. I've bet Pavlovich. I think I maybe jumped a little bit too early, if I'm being honest with you. I think I got minus 200, and I've parlayed him up with someone in this card. But it maybe one I could have avoided. It was the first thing I really liked it when I seen it. Like I said, I'm not the biggest fan of Maurice Greene. I think even though he looks like he's making gains and he looks like he's in the best spot personally that he's ever been, I just think Pavlovich is better, and I think over a 15-minute fight, I think he's going to get off more. I think he can clinch up more. I think he can get takedowns. Not that he kind of is dominant in those factions, but I think he could be over someone like Maurice Greene. And like I say, I think I like his kind of trajectory a little bit more with the UFC than I do Maurice Greene. So I'm going to pick Pavlovich to win that one there. Enrique Barzola against Movsar Evloev. This is a really good fight. I think that you've obviously got two grapplers by nature. You've got the wrestler in Barzola and the wrestler in kind of Evloev. That's really kind of all he has. One of the things that I didn't like, if you go into Instagram, I think it's Peter Yan's Instagram. Jesus man, him and Peter Yan are really going for it in the sparring, and he's taking a lot of shots off Peter Yan. Peter Yan's a gangster, obviously, but to be fair to Evloev, he's sticking himself in there and he's returning with some good shots. But obviously his bread and butter is with his grappling. Same with Barzola to an extent. He tried that against Kevin Aguilar, didn't really work out, and once it's on the feet, especially against someone with the power of Aguilar, he's going to back him up a little bit more, he's going to hurt him a little bit more, and he just couldn't get his game plan off. Now, this is an interesting fight because Barzola, I think, will have the advantage on the feet. I think it might be fairly similar, but I edge Barzola on the feet. Grappling, I think Barzola's got the kind of game he could maybe stuff takedowns of Evloev and really frustrate him. So I can see why people, I spoke to a few people, they like Barzola in this spot. I'm more on Evloev. I think that he's continuously looking for ways to get takedowns. If he can't get the first one, he'll move on to the next one. And he's pretty non-stop with it. It could be boring, it looked boring in a lot of people's eyes, but I think he's really, really dominant with it. But he's got the type of fighter here in Barzola who could, if he stuffs here, he's probably going to be in the ascendancy in this fight. But I like Evloev. I like these guys that are like, he's over there at Tiger Muay Thai. That's what he needs to improve on. His grappling's always going to be there, but his striking needs to improve. And if he can improve that, he's going to be a hard fight for a lot of guys in that featherweight division. When I was talking about Pavlovich, I parlayed him up with actually Evloev to get plus like 142. I like the parlay, but I'm just thinking, not too sure. But I've committed to it now, so I'm going to go with it. I've got Evloev to win via decision. Lightweight division, we've got Alex White against Rafael Fiziev. I'm actually going to go with Alex White in this one. I'm a little bit. I wasn't. This was one of the last fights I watched because I thought, gut feeling was that I quite like Fiziev, and the thing is, I like Fiziev in his last fight, and he got absolutely stonewall murked by Magomed Mustafayev. I do like the dangerous striking of Fiziev, but I think he's small for lightweight. I think he could, if he really committed himself, he can maybe make 145. But like I say, he's striking steadily, vicious leg kicks, vicious spinning shots. If you give him the opportunity, he will rip the body and he will come up top with vicious power. Now, I don't think that's going to last over a 15-minute fight. I really don't. I don't think that's going to stick around through the entirety of the fight. Alex White, I think, is going to have to come through some really kind of tough spots in this fight, but he's the bigger guy. I think if he was to clinch up somehow, especially against the cage, and use that size. Now, he's did that before in a couple of fights where he's got takedowns, and I know it's Artem Lobov and so on, but he's a big, broad dude that I think that if I don't think he can naturally stand with Rafael Fiziev, because if he does, he's going to get smacked around a little bit. But he might be a little bit kind of. I think that they've got similar reach where you could maybe. I don't know. I'm kind of struggling with it. I feel like not struggling. I feel not as confident in the Fiziev across. Honestly, I'm a little bit with this one. When I was looking at it, initially I was on Fiziev. When I watched the fights, I thought, right, I think Alex White has got enough here to stifle him, and especially if it doesn't get finished early by Fiziev, then I think he could really start to come into the fight kind of in the second and third round. That's kind of where I'm going with this one. I think his toughness might come through, but Fiziev's a bit of a beast on the floor, but he is, like I say, I'm not really confident in the pick all in all, but I fancy going with Alex White in this one. That might be a bit of a eek play, but I fancy taking a shot on underdog. I think it's a hard kind of fight card to pick underdogs, if I'm being honest with you. But I think the line's like plus 200. In my opinion, I think that's kind of rather off. I think it should be aligned a lot closer, especially someone like Fiziev who's coming off. And when you watch his fights before the UFC and Road FC and stuff, I watched a couple earlier on. They're not great fighters he's facing, not great records. At least Alex White's got the experience in the UFC, fought good caliber opposition. Bigger guy, I think he can clinch him up a little bit, maybe against the cage, tire him out, and then once it goes into 2 and 3, I think it could be his fight. So I'm going to go Alex White via decision in that one. Randa Markos against Ashley Yoder there. I'm seeing a lot of people actually really liking Ashley Yoder this week, just looking at social media. Not for me, I like Randa Markos, even though it's like I say, it's women's MMA, very kind of lowest level women's MMA. But Ashley Yoder, she'll let her opponents have takedowns. Randa Markos, when she decides to use her takedown, she's actually pretty good with them. But she's like one of these fighters, she mixes in wins and losses very, very regularly. So, yeah, I wouldn't bet this fight, if I'm being honest with you. I think she was Angela Hill she beat. That was a beautiful submission. Then she got a kind of step up against Gadelia. I just think that Ashley Yoder, I think she's like I say, she's scrappy. She's kind of tough to face. She's not great in any kind of one facet, but she can make it close. And she's won 2 fights in a row, so fair play. I mean, Amanda Cooper, I still kind of think Amanda Cooper probably won that fight, but Sayuri Kondo beat her in Carolina, I think it was, back there earlier on this year. So yeah, I fancy. I didn't really look into this like super. I watched the last couple of fights and that was it. But I like Randa Markos. I think she's got more over a 50-minute fight. She can win that one there. Moving on to the main card. Who have we got here? Sorry. Frank Camacho, Beniel Dariush. This is another one that's hard to pick because as a whole, as a mixed martial artist, Beniel Dariush is a superior fighter in the facets of MMA, but the guy has got a really, really bad chin, and he came through that last fight where I think he was more proud of the fact that he didn't get caught with a big shot and knocked out. That's what it kind of seemed like to me when he beat Drew Dober. But I think he's got smart with it. He realises that his chin is compromised. Use your strength, what you've got when you're wrestling, your jiu-jitsu. And he's started to do that. He's a really good BJJ guy. We've seen throughout his UFC career that he can definitely mix in takedowns, and he's did that in his last 2 fights. Obviously, after the Hernandez loss, where he got absolutely smashed, the Barboza one, his chin is not in the best of spots. And then you've got someone like Frank Camacho who's coming in here, who really, that is his kind of golden ticket, is his power, his durability, to stay in the fight and look decent. But I mean, coming off a win over Nick Hine, I don't read too much into that. I think that Hine is on his way out. He's been on his way out for the longest time. But he's fought tough guys. Drew Dober, he hits hard as well. Jeff Neal, we all know that guy's a banger. So for me, I actually like the line, and the line's coming down to Dariush. Like, that's, I think, a line I've bet him the last couple of fights when he fought, especially Moises. A lot of people were on Moises. I went with Beniel Dariush. And if that continues to come down, I might be tempted to take a shot on Dariush, but I think it's like minus 135. I'd like it to get a lot lower than that. But then again, it's super, super risky, because I don't even think it takes a full-fledged shot from Camacho to really hurt Beniel Dariush, in my opinion. But when I look at him as a mixed martial artist, I think he's far superior as just a mixed martial artist. But there's obviously capabilities with his chin. So I'm actually going to go Beniel Dariush to win via submission. Late second, early third round in that one. Michael Johnson against Stevie Ray. Struggle to pick Stevie Ray here. I don't agree with the line. It's at like minus 350 for Michael Johnson. But when I look at the fight, I don't think it's a great matchup for Stevie Ray. I think he's been putting a lot of rounds in his jiu-jitsu, and that's something he might want to use here. But then you've got Michael Johnson, who's got a wrestling background, doesn't all in all use it, and that is something that is a little bit sketchy. Like, he's coming off that loss against Josh Emmett, up in that fight. Stay safe, stay at distance, don't try and get into the wheelhouse of Josh Emmett, because you know what he's going to do with that big power that he's got, and he gets caught and he gets knocked out silly. A vicious, vicious knockout, a really dirty knockout. Outstruck Artem Lobov, beat Andre Fili, which I think is a good win, even though that was very, very close. Like I said, I feel this is not the greatest matchup for Stevie Ray. When I look at it, it's like, how does he ultimately win the fight? Because I think he's at a disadvantage on the feet, definitely at a disadvantage for speed. I don't think he can really. I don't even think he's really been with a striker like Michael Johnson, whose hands are so fast, and he can mix in with his kicks as well. Stevie's coming off a knockout loss against, Leonardo Santos, of all people. That's not a good look, and I think he's vastly slower than what Michael Johnson is. So maybe his game plan is going to be to take the fight to the ground, and maybe use his jiu-jitsu. I know he fought Paddy Pimblett, and I think it was Polaris, got him with a beautiful knee bar, I think it was, in that one there. Really hurt him, but yeah, I struggle to pick my countryman here. I think that would I be surprised if he won? I think I would be to an extent, but I think MJ, if he fights a smart fight here, I think he can win over 15 minutes. I actually think he can knock him out. So I might go Michael Johnson, knockout in the second round. But obviously I'm pulling for Stevie in that one there to get the win. Where are we? Let's see, I think we're in the heavyweight division now. Yeah, heavyweight division, Ciryl Gane against Don'Tale Mayes. I've got Ciryl there. I think they're matching up well here with someone in Don'Tale Mayes who's been on the UFC kind of radar. He was on, I think he won a couple of fights in Dana White's show. I remember that Mitchell Sipe was a guy that he fought. I cannot remember for the life of me who he fought last time out, but I know he got a knockout right at the end of that first. Like I said, Ciryl Gane, I love his movement. I like his lateral movement. I like his footwork. I like his feints. I like his shot selection. I do. I think that he picks his shots really well. Last fight against Pessoa, when I was watching before, I was like, I'm not sure about this guy, but I think he's got everything to be a really good heavyweight, with his natural gifts that he's got, with his movement, with his striking. I'm still a little bit iffy about his cardio if he was to really get pushed by a dominant wrestler. But I think this is just good matchmaking on the UFC part. They're going to have to build the guy up. He's not got an exclusive big record in the UFC or even in MMA, I should say. I know he's got a lot of fights out there with kickboxing and so on, I believe. So, yeah, I think Dontel's just been brought into Singapore and Cyryl's going to do the business on him here. So, not that they'll be betting the fight, to be honest with you. But yeah, Ciryl Gane's going to win that one, in my opinion. I think he knocks him out in the middle part of the fight. There. Welterweight division, Muslim Salikhov against Laureano Staropoli. I've got Muslim Salikhov. I think that he is going to ultimately just catch Staropoli in the striking battles. I think that, what am I trying to say here? Laureano was a guy that I don't think, outside of his striking and him being tough with his striking, I don't think there's much else to his game. I don't think he's much of a grappler. I haven't really seen too much of that, especially in the UFC. There was a couple of instances outside the UFC where you've seen that. I can see you guys in the chat there. I'm just trying to concentrate through this and try and remember what I'm saying because it's late enough here. So, but I see you guys. Yeah, I picked against Salikhov against Taleb. I thought his height, not his height, I think he's just like how big he was. I thought as the fight went on, he was going to maybe clinch him up a little bit and maybe tire Salikhov, but Salikhov was countering with really beautiful leg kicks, really beautiful spins, and he was just really looking for that one shot, and eventually he found it, and it was a nasty, nasty knockout. And that's what he does when you watch a lot of his fights. He picks his shots well, he counters really well, and I think that Laureano can definitely be countered upon coming forward. I think he is open. You've seen in the Thiago Alves fight, there was instances where he'd drop his head a little bit. Someone like Salikhov with a striking background he's got, I think he's definitely going to read that and he's going to catch him with a shot. I've seen a few people have came to me and says Staropoli a good dog pick, and initially I thought he would be. Watched it last night. I'm instantly moved over to Salikhov. People have been saying to me as well, is like, do you think he can grapple? I'm like, I don't think that's in him. I think he's a striker. I think he likes to stay in the feet, throw leather. And if this stays a striking battle, I think Salikhov is just a far more experienced, better striker, better counter striker. Just try and not get into, I don't get hit with something too big. I think Salikhov can actually maybe stop Staropoli if he catches him with the right shot. I think I've picked a lot of decisions in here, so I'm going to pick a stoppage in that one. I'm going to go Salikhov will counter him with a nice shot and knock him out in the middle second to early third round in that one there. And the main event of the night, you got Demian Maia against Ben Askren. I mean, what a hard fight to kind of look at. I was like, when I was watching the fights, I didn't really watch too much of Ben Askren's UFC fights because there's literally only like maybe 2 minutes of it on there. But when you go back into his one days there, he's not really facing like good jiu-jitsu guys, good positional jiu-jitsu guys. There was Luis Santos, who's a jiu-jitsu guy, but he tends to strike a lot more than he does use his jiu-jitsu. There was obviously Aoki, and Aoki is very opportunistic and with his striking, with his jiu-jitsu and so on once it goes to the ground. But nothing really stands out as being like top level ground specialist, so on. That's where Demian Maia is. And then obviously the fight starts on the feet. Demian Maia, I think, has got the advantage in this one. I still think Ben Askren's going to, just his pride's going to want him to grapple here. And Demian Maia is just he's obviously a bigger dude. But both guys are old. I think over the course of a 25-minute fight, if Askren was to, it's hard to say. He's been like 5 rounds before. I know Maia has as well, but I just think at this spot, I think Askren's more, he could be a little bit more conditioned to go better over the 25 minutes. But I think there's going to be spots in this fight where he's going to eat strikes, he's going to come in. I've seen people say, well, what about Demian Maia? How is he going to take Ben Askren down. I was like, well, he maybe doesn't have to. He can maybe somehow find a choke or like a guillotine where he can move into side control and get the back and maybe go in there and start to really hurt Askren with that. It's a tough fight to pick. Honestly, I've been all over the place where I thought when the fight got made, I thought, right, I'm just going to leave this until I start watching a couple of the fights and see if anything jumps out to me. And I'm just like, I watched, I want to say 5 to 7 maybe Maia fights just to see about his tendencies and see if there's anything that I could spot. And then I watched Askren's fights, specifically in one. Not really too much because like the Aoki one you can't really take much away from. The Kadistram one you can't really take much away from. It's just hard because he's not faced elite guys like this guy in my opinion. I think Maia is obviously top of the food chain with his jiu-jitsu, with his what's the word I'm looking for? Pressure. That's the word I'm looking for. With his pressure, he can, if he gets your back, he will stay on it for 4 minutes and win the round through that. We've seen that numerous times in the UFC. He did it with Masvidal perfectly. If he gets you to the ground and he's in the dominant position, he's going to be a tough guy to get off you. Askren, it'd be interesting to see Askren on top because I can maybe see someone like Maia flopping or maybe just falling to his back and seeing if Ben Askren will maybe fall him to the ground, and then from there, I just think that Maia's got the opportunity to catch him and stuff, maybe reverse him. And like I say, where's Ben Askren's head at right now? Because he's coming off that knockout to Jorge Masvidal, where it was just the craziest thing we're going to see in a long time, and his head scrambled. But he's not. This is a good match. I think it's a good matchup for him because he's not exactly against a power puncher in Maia. I think he's got some decent striking. I was really impressed with his striking against Colby Covington. I thought he threw a lot of good strikes and looked okay with that. But yeah, it's a tough fight. It's hard to really get any confidence in a pick, in my opinion. But like I said, the line is starting to go heavy in Ben Askren's favour, which is a little bit interesting to me. Plus 160, sorry, for Demian Maia, and that's only going up. That kind of interests me. I think that someone just said there, people forget how highly skilled Maia is in the ground. I think some people might be like that in this fight here, personally. I'm going to pick Demian Maia via submission. I just think there's going to be an opportunity when he's going to get a choke in or he's going to get that pressure, and Ben Askren might not know what to do with someone who's as elite as this. So, yeah, I wouldn't want to play the chalk on Ben Askren. I'd rather take a shot on an underdog, and I think Demian Maia's got the absolute. Demian Maia's stand-up isn't that bad, Quincy. It's not. It's enough. It's better, more than enough in this fight to win him rounds if it was to stay in the feet. He's the better striker. Ben Askren's striking is nah. So, yeah, I'm going to take Demian Maia. There's might be a chance to actually bet Demian Maia, even though I'm a little bit scrambled with the matchup. But if the line continues to go up, I think it's disrespect on Maia's side. I don't understand why people would play Askren at minus 185. It makes no sense to me, that. So I'm going to go Demian Maia via submission in the middle part of this fight here. So that's my picks for UFC Singapore. Next week we've got UFC 244. So that's going to be an absolutely fun card to... I've already started watching a few fights in that earlier today when the NFL was on. I was getting a little bit bored, so I switched that on. And I've got some nice kind of leans off that one. Main card, I mean, Masvidal, Diaz, Gastelum, Till, Lukey, Thompson, Kevin Lee, Gregor Gillespie, Anderson, Johnny Walker, Amakani, Burgos. Great fights. Looking forward to that. Arce, Dawudo, what a great fight that is. So, yeah, if you like the video, give me a thumbs up. If you're new to the channel and you like what you see, hit that subscribe button and help me grow the channel. So, yeah, I really do appreciate you guys. Like I say, the poster giveaway, the people that were in it, get your email sent in for Singapore. Top 3 advance. I'm going to put the collated scores from the first event in the community page. Keep an eye out there, and then we'll be all down to 3. So, yeah. What do you think of McDonald Lima? I like Douglas Lima. I think Douglas Lima's going to absolutely put it on Rory McDonald this time. I've got a good feeling that he's going to come through and win this fight here. So I'll have a look at the Bellator card if I can get a little bit there, and I might get a prediction video out for that. But until next week, guys, all the best. Thank you very much, and take care.